Hi, I'm Greg Batista from G. Batista Engineering and Construction in sunny Florida, getting ready to stuff your mental piñata with facts. And we're here to talk about the structural portion, more specifically regarding the concrete of the Florida Building Safety Inspection, or milestone inspection. Still, it's known in some places as the 40-year recertification for existing buildings. For more information, request proposals, and even obtain some free books and more, go to the website at askgbatista.com. Today, we're getting into something that's absolutely fundamental to your building's health, especially in Florida. It's concrete. Now, I know concrete might not sound like the most exciting topic, but trust me, when it comes to keeping your building safe and sound, concrete is where it is at. Let's start with the basics. Your building is probably made up of several key components. First off, we have the foundation. That's the base of the building, the part that literally holds everything else up. Then there's the slabs, which makes up the floors. You have the beams that support these floors, and then you have the columns that keeps the whole structure standing tall. Think of these concrete elements as the skeleton of your building. If any one of these parts starts to weaken or crack, it could spell trouble down the road. But before you start worrying about every little crack that you see, let's break down what some inspectors are actually looking for during this structural portion of the building safety inspection. When it comes to concrete, the three most common issues for the inspectors and what they're looking for is cracking, as you can see here, there's spalling, as you can see here, and settlement. Check it out. These are the big three in terms of concrete problems, especially down here in Florida. Let's start with cracking. Cracks in concrete can happen for a variety of reasons: age, weather, or even just the building settling over time. Now, here's the important thing to remember. Not all cracks are created equal. Just because you see a crack, it doesn't mean that your building's about to crumble. This is why an engineer, a structural engineer like myself, needs to take a close look. The size, the length, the width, location, and even the shape of the crack, it all matters. For example, a small hairline crack might not be a big deal at all. It's just part of the normal wear and tear of a building. But a long, deep crack that runs horizontally, that might be a red flag for something much more serious. It's kind of like when you hear a funny noise in your car, you don't panic right away, but you definitely get it checked out. Secondly, we've got spalling. This is where the surface of the concrete starts to flake off or delaminate, usually due to water getting in and causing the steel inside, the steel reinforcement inside, to rust and expand. Spalling is a bit like cancer in your building. It starts small, but if you left untreated, it can go deeper and cause more serious damage as it continues to expand. Spalling is particularly common here in Florida because of our humid, salty air. If your building's concrete starts spalling, it's a sign that water has gotten where it should not have. An inspector will check these areas carefully to determine how severe the problem is and whether repairs are actually needed. And third, there's settlement. Settlement happens when the ground underneath your building shifts, causing part of the structure to sink or tilt. This can lead to cracks, uneven floors, and other structural issues. It's a bit like your building's version of a broken bone. If it's not healed, you're headed for a world of pain. Settlement can be tricky because it's not always immediately obvious, but over time it can lead to significant structural problems. The inspectors performing the inspection will look for signs of settlement in your foundation first, and then the slabs and other key areas to make sure your building is pretty much sitting pretty. I can make an entire 2-hour video just talking about cracks, but leave the details to the experts since this topic is way too complicated to get into a small 5-minute video. Now, I know that all this talk about cracks, spalling, and settlement might sound like a little scary, but here's the good news. Just because the issues exist, it doesn't necessarily mean that your building is in danger. That's why it's so important to have a qualified engineer, such as myself, to perform this inspection. They'll be able to tell you whether the crack is just cosmetic or if it's something that you need to address right away. The key here is early detection. Catching these issues early means they can often be repaired before they turn into bigger, more expensive problems. Think of it as giving your building a little bit of TLC, tender loving care. It's better to fix a small crack now than to wait until it becomes a big headache later. In other videos, we will dive deeper into each one of these issues, how to spot them, what they mean, and how to address them. But for now, just remember that the structural portion of your building safety inspection is all about making sure your building's concrete components are strong and healthy. After all, a building is only as good as its foundation, literally. Understand? Well, great. I'm Greg Batista. I'm a 30-year plus veteran in the construction and engineering industries here in Florida, and I have a passion for teaching what I know to property managers, building maintenance engineers, residents, and homeowners associations. For more tips and access to more videos, on LinkedIn, click my name and then follow. And on YouTube, click subscribe and ring the bell. And remember, if you have a question or something's going on in your building that you quite don't know what's going on, then hey, just ask G. Batista.